Hello everybody and welcome to Uproot Reddit. It's one thing for a parent to be super concerned about their child's overall health and well-being when their child is being admitted to the intensive care unit. It's another thing, however, for entitled parents to stress over their child not getting enough first-class attention at the hospital. Reddit user Mom of 3 Dragons 2012 recounts their awkward and out-of-place experience at the intensive care unit called Encounter with Entitled Parents in the Pediatric Emergency Room. Of all places, why the emergency room? We're about to find out in today's episode. Here we go. This happened yesterday. My 3-year-old daughter was diagnosed with bacterial pneumonia, and we ended up in the emergency room because she was struggling to breathe. Pneumonia is very serious. She was put on a nebulizer and O2 and given an IV for more meds while we waited for a room to open up in the pediatric intensive care unit. The emergency room was pretty full. The rooms are small and you share them. There is a curtain that divides them. There are no doors, just another curtain. Around 4 p.m., a family arrives with mom, dad, and their 5-year-old daughter. The mom briefly looks in on my side of the room and could see my toddler laying in the bed hooked to machines with an IV. It's obvious that this isn't a stubbed toe. So I can't help but hear the parents explaining why their kid is in the ED. Stomach pain. Meanwhile, the kid is asking for something to eat. Question, if your kid has stomach pain, why is she asking for something to eat? Better give her some prunes, maybe that will heal up her stomach. She sounds quite perky. Parents insist she has a kidney infection. Whatever, I don't know her history, and not interested. So my daughter was given a steroid through her nebulizer to help open her airways. Her O2, which they wanted 90 or above, kept dipping down into the low 80s, making an alarm sound. The nebulizer makes some noise, and the side effect is hyperactivity, so my extremely sick kid was medically wired as heck. Within 30 minutes of arriving, the entitled parents call for a nurse and ask for a private room because their daughter needs to rest somewhere quiet. Meanwhile, their daughter was blasting Ryan's toy review from her tablet and loudly demanding chocolate chip cookies and milk. The nurse explains that there is no private rooms in the emergency room. My daughter then starts having a coughing fit, which is scary as her O2 drops off and she chokes until she vomits. I had 2 nurses in, trying to help by suctioning her and patting her back. I'm trying to help her. My daughter is turning blue. I hear the entitled mother ask the nurse, "How long are they going to be expected to listen to that?" Okay, let's just get this clear. Entitled mom, that's none of your business, so back off. Afterwards, my daughter was wiped out and was crying a little, and the entitled mom rang for her nurse again and asked again for someplace quiet so her little girl can rest. Her daughter was making a lot of noise playing with something. Then they started playing with the lights. The room has a switch to control the lights on each side and then a master switch to cut all the lights. My daughter is afraid of the dark. The entitled dad cuts the lights for the room, making it quite dark with the curtain over the door way drawn. I tell my husband to turn on the lights on our side, which he does. The entitled mom calls her nurse to complain that it's too bright for her little girl to sleep. It's 5 p.m. The nurse explained that they are welcome to shut the lights off on their side, but they had to leave our side alone. They complain a bit about how ill their daughter is. Meanwhile, my daughter is drowning in her own lungs, which I'm sure they know, as you can hear everything. Then the nurse leaves and they shut the lights off for the entire room again. My husband immediately turns ours on and calls through the curtain that we need our lights on. Silence. Our nurse comes in to attend to my daughter's IV, and they attempt to get her to force us to have the lights off. Our nurse basically tells them to knock it off. And here's where things really start to escalate and get way worse than it should be. In an emergency room. Then they start pushing for more space. They attempt to push our chair away where my husband is sitting. They put their chair way over on our side of the room, pushing the curtain into our faces essentially. My husband pushes it back. They call and complain, rinse and repeat. Finally, a room in the pediatric intensive care unit opens up, and we are told that we would be admitted in an hour. Entitled Parents complain that they asked for a private room first. The nurse explains that we are being admitted, not being given a private room in the ED. The entitled parents demand they be admitted first because their daughter is so much sicker. The nurse says that there is no reason for their daughter to be admitted as she is just constipated, and as soon as she poops, they'll be free to go. The parents start freaking out. So that's my story of how the parents of a little girl who needed to take a little poo felt they were more important than a little girl with pneumonia. And here's a quick update from Mom of 3 Dragons 2012. First of all, my daughter is doing so much better. Thanks for all the well wishes. Second, many of you say you would have caused some sort of scene, or you would have acted aggressively or called them on their behavior. I worked in an emergency room for 4 years. Unruly parents were often removed from their emergency room without their child. I kept my head down and took it because the care my child was receiving to keep her heart beating was more important. Imagine that. My daughter was never in danger. Her nurses were attentive, helpful, friendly, responsive. I would have taken whiplashes from Satan himself if it meant my daughter getting care. The petty complaints and power play coming from the other side of the curtain didn't affect my child at all. The nurses had their number. They were handling it. Now, I understand if your child has pneumonia, you would need a special room. But if your child has a minor illness, like for example taking a poo, and acts completely normal and reckless, yet you have the gall to ask for a private room, then what are you even doing in the emergency room in the first place? Entitled parents, am I right? Well, that's all for today. Stay healthy, my friends, and we'll be back for more weird but true Reddit stories right here on Uproot Reddit.